just remind them October 21st is early voting. Remind them that November 5th is election day. But let's talk about our VP. Since we're talking 85 days, let's talk about her. Where has she been? See, I might need my glasses for this one. Okay, she was in Philly this week. She was in Michigan, Wisconsin, Arizona, and Las Vegas. The Harris campaign will release their platform and positions on issues this week. And our Madam VP Kamala Harris and Biden are actually going to be in Maryland on Thursday, August the 15th. That's a non-campaign event. But guess what? Michigan, Wisconsin, Arizona, and Las Vegas. The Harris campaign will release their platform and positions on issues this week. And our Madam VP Kamala Harris and Biden are actually going to be in Maryland on Thursday, August the 15th. That's a non-campaign event. But guess what? Michigan, Wisconsin, Arizona, and Las Vegas. The Harris campaign will release their platform and positions on issues this week. And our thanks. I appreciate it. We just had a little technical difficulty and we'll just keep on going because we're hype about this campaign. So a lot of people have been asking for campaign shirts, stickers, and yard signs. And guess what I have? I'm so excited. My Harris for President shirt came in the mail on Saturday. So it's like a 2 to 3 day turnover. You can go to www.kamalaharris.com for campaign shirts, stickers, yard signs, backpacks, anything you want dealing with the campaign. Look at it. Great quality Harris for President. There we go. Since we are excited, guess what? I am also here to talk about the VP's VP, Tim Walz. He is a veteran, served in the Army National Guard, 12-year career congressman, high school teacher, and football coach. He turned a losing team into a championship, union supporter, middle class, mothers on Social Security. His wife, Gwen, is a teacher, and they have 2 children, Hope and Gus. And the family has been open in that the family used IVF to welcome their daughter, Hope. He is the governor that signed legislation for kids to get free school lunches, for there to be tampons in the school, and he signed the Crown Act, which means that there won't be any discrimination when it comes to natural hair and locks. So I'm giving him a clap and a thumbs up. He will be on the campaign this week in Los Angeles, in Denver, Boston, Newport, Rhode Island, and Southampton, New York. This will be the first week for him to go out on his own and talk on the campaign trail. And we're excited. We're excited because we're not going back. We have hope. We have joy. We don't need AI. We have the crowds. We have the momentum. And so remember, go to www.kamalaharris.com. And we're just going to keep going. And we're going to go right into Mayor Lottie Shackelford, who is the DNC Women's Caucus Chair. And she's going to give us a glimpse into the DNC convention next week.
I'm sorry. I think I was still muted. Am I unmuted now?
You are unmuted and we welcome you, Mayor.
Thank you. I was trying to change my backdrop, but you see, I was unsuccessful. I have a Harris Waltz background, and I was trying to change it, but
we'll work with you.
Too bad that didn't happen. Good evening, everyone. Arkansas Democrats, are we ready? Are we going to change the looks of this map? Well, I'm here to talk a little bit about convention. I am so excited. I think I've said this once before. I'm just as excited this time as I was my very first time I went to a convention. And of course, we have a lot to be excited about. With Kamala Harris leading the ticket and leading the way, and we're going to make certain that we do our part to make certain that she is the next president of these United States. So, with the DNC, we will have, in addition to our regular state activities, and I would imagine someone else is going to do that, but I'm going to talk about what the DNC is doing during convention, and it is being responsible for the caucuses and the councils. And Arkansas is fortunate because we have a council co-chair. Johnny Robach is the council co-chair for the Interfaith Council. And I've been blessed to be chair of the Women's Caucus for the DNC. The Women's Caucus, of course, is the largest caucus because half the delegates to the Democratic National Convention are women. So we have space allocated for about 6,000 attendees at the Women's Caucus. Our times are Tuesday and Thursday, 9:30 a.m. until 11:30 a.m. each day. And transportation will be provided for the delegates from their delegation hotels to McCormick Center. All of these activities will be in the McCormick Center. All ethnic councils will be meeting at the McCormick Center on at the same time, Monday through Mondays and Wednesday. That will be the Black Caucus, the Hispanic Caucus, the LGBT Caucus, the Disability Caucus. All of those will be meeting on Monday and Wednesday, same time, 9:30 to 11:30. For the Women's Caucus, we're asking everyone to wear white that day on Thursday, because Thursday is the day that our current Vice President, Kamala Harris, will be giving her acceptance speech as the presidential nominee for the Democratic National Committee on Thursday night. And so we're asking that we wear white that day in solidarity with her. We invite you all to invite others in the area to attend the caucus and councils meetings. They will need to pre-register. Well, it would be advantageous if they pre-register. If they don't pre-register, it doesn't mean you can't get in, but you will have to still register. Once you get to McCormick Center, you will be directed to another place. They tell me it's going to be the exhibit area to register, and then you will be given a wristband to go in and attend the caucus and council meetings. But everyone will still have to register. They have shared with us, if you pre-register, that line will be shorter to get in, but registration still will occur. The gavel will sound each day around 4:00. And of course, that's where you start the beginning of the business for the convention. And that will be in the United Center. I know some questions have come in the sense of credentials for the United Center. Credentials for the United Center come in about 4 different categories. There will be some that literally just say floor or page. Then, of course, the delegate badge will be given to those folk who are elected delegates, and they are the ones who have reserved seating in their state delegations. Then you will have the honored guest credentials. There will be seats in the arena on a separate level for honored guests. There will be some limited seating, and it's a first come, first served basis. Then there will be special guests. Again, in the arena, no reserved seating, but there will be designated areas with seats. But again, first come, first serve. And then there will be something called arena passes, which will get you into the arena, but you will be outside the inside of United Center. You will be out in the concession area, but you will be in the hall for those with those credentials. So I'm telling folks, whatever kind of extra credential you have, don't turn your nose up at it, because you can always trade if you have something to trade with. I'm available for any questions that you may have as it relates to the convention coming up.
Some people ask, where can they watch the convention?
My understanding is there are going to be various watch parties going on, and even in the McCormick Center, I think there will be some areas for watching as well. And if you're in the arena of the United Center, you'll be able to watch, because there will be screens around and this kind of thing. So you still would be able to watch. And the exact time that it will be shown on TV, I don't have that now, but I'm fairly certain that will be coming out, because it will probably change from day to day. And we know C-SPAN will have it, but then right, the networks tend to have a shorter block of time for when they carry it. But if you want to watch the convention from the time the gavel hits, then my suggestion is go to C-SPAN, because C-SPAN then will do it gavel to gavel.
Now, with C-SPAN, can you watch the caucus, like the women's caucus meeting via C-SPAN?
They have not shared with us yet whether or not the caucus meetings will be on C-SPAN. I know some things will be on C-SPAN, but I don't know whether the caucus meetings. We're getting this information piece by piece, and the moment we get some additional information, we will certainly share it.
We'll definitely share it out, because I know a lot of folks who will not be able to attend in Chicago want to watch this historic moment, particularly the caucuses that Arkansans are running.
Right. Thank you. And as we get information, we will certainly put it in a forum, in a format that can be shared.
Now, Mayor Shackelford, if someone is not able to attend Chicago, but they still want to dress in white on Thursday, what do you think?
Please do, and be in solidarity. I mean, right, let's be a part of this.
Yes.
You know, let's be a part of this. This is still history in the making, for her story in the making. So let's go on and be a part of it. Yes, please. So wherever you go on Thursday, whether you're going into the grocery store, the doctor's office, just put on you some white and march on in, you know. So.
I'll have my white on. I'll be here, but I'll have my white on.
And we'll feel the vibe. And I think Vice President Harris will feel the vibes. So let's unify and put that white on. Let her feel those vibes from across this country.
Love it. Look, we can't thank you enough for your leadership, Mayor Shackelford. And this is historic. And we are glad that you are leading the way for all of us. Some of us is our first time being a delegate. So thank you for all you're doing and paving that way. And I'm excited.
And I'd like to make an announcement, because the chairman of the party, Grant Tennille, has asked me to give the vote for the Arkansas delegation. And I am so excited about that.
Yes.
So, thanks to Grant for allowing me to do that. And thanks to all of my friends and Democratic friends. You all are the ones who propel me. You all are the ones who support me. And I tell everybody, I can't do anything nationally if my folk back home don't support me. And Arkansas has always been there, not only supporting me, but pushing and promoting me. And I can't thank you enough. And I just want to keep working hard to deserve your support.
Well, we're
Well, I'm
supporting
glad
you
you
and
feel
you're
the
pulling
love.
us. That's for sure.
I'm glad you feel the love. We are so appreciative to you.
And thank you for that announcement. That is like super exciting. So Tuesday on the convention floor, when states are doing their roll call, our very own Mayor Lottie Shackelford will make the announcement for Arkansas.
Yes, I'm so excited.
Love it, love it, love it. Make sure everybody tunes in. We'll put some information out on the Black Caucus website. We'll email it out to make sure people know what's going on. Any other last words, Mayor Shackelford, about the convention that folks should know about?
Probably so. I can't think of any additional ones now, because when I tell you it's a rolling flow of information, it is truly a rolling flow of information. And each day we get something new. Monday nights, we know that the former presidents, Democratic presidents, will be speaking. And of course, Arkansas's own Bill Clinton, the 42nd president, will be speaking. And of course, all of ours, Barack Obama will also be speaking on Monday night, is what we're being told. I was on a call earlier today, and someone even said that Hillary would be speaking on that night. So
Arkansas will be well represented.
Arkansas, as they know, Arkansas will be in the house.
And let me add two other data points, one confirmed and one unconfirmed. VP Walls worked in Jonesboro, Arkansas. Yes.
Oh, please.
Yes, he worked in Jonesboro, Arkansas. That was just reported on like either today or yesterday. So he has a connection to Arkansas. And this part is unconfirmed. So I'm gonna find out and get back to you, but I don't mind sharing it. What I hear is that VP Harris is soon to be President Harris. Her stepson has a connection to Northwest Arkansas.
Super.
Yes, so I'm gonna find that out. But it's all of you trolls, go do your searching to help me find that out.
Oh yeah. Maybe we can start spreading that word so we get. Hopefully that will help where we are sitting in the hall.
There you go. There you go.
In 2016, we were literally down on the floor, right in front of the staging. We don't know where we are going to be. At least I don't know at this juncture.
Well, it's going to be great regardless. Thank you, Mayor Shackelford. We appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you all.
So, Brenda, now we're going to share a commercial.
Yes. Tee it up.
The one thing Kamala Harris has always been: fearless. As a prosecutor, she put murderers and abusers behind bars. As California's Attorney General, she went after the big banks and won $20 billion for homeowners. And as vice president, she took on the big drug companies to cap the cost of insulin for seniors. Because Kamala Harris has always known who she represents.
This campaign is about who we fight for. We believe in a future where every person has the opportunity not just to get by, but to get ahead. Where every senior can retire with dignity. But Donald Trump wants to take our country backward, to give tax breaks to billionaires and big corporations and end the Affordable Care Act. But we are not going back. I'm Kamala Harris, and I approve this message.
The one thing Kamala Harris has always been:
We are not going
Not
back.
at all. I
Look,
approve the message. I could probably add something to that commercial because
come on.
she's one of the first persons to endorse the child tax credit that the Republicans just shot down on August the 1st.
Yes.
So it passed in the House bipartisan, and then the Senate Republicans blocked the child tax credit. So she could have put that in that commercial because they just did it.
They just did it. So
Just did.
we're gonna in a second we're gonna talk about how you all can sign up, because now we're excited, we're pumped. Now let's sign up. But before, Mayor Shackelford has something she wants to share with us. I see her hand up. Let's bring Mayor Shackelford back up real quick.
I rushed in here and I knew I didn't have my notes in front of me, but I have another announcement to make, because Stephanie Jackson from Little Rock, Arkansas, with Design Group, she's going to sing the national anthem on Thursday at the Women's Caucus. And I have forgotten to make that announcement.
Love it. Love it.
That's
Look,
beautiful.
all over the place. Stephanie Jackson, our very own.
Yes.
Very, and I can say she's a Alpha Kappa Alpha woman. Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
Yes, she is. She is. The Deltas will be in the house.
Yes, the house. I love it. Thank you, Mayor Shackelford. And I was also sent a note that says that CNN is going to be covering the entire convention daily. So CNN is another place you can go to check out. And Brenda, I got a note. I told you the trolls are out there. They're gonna find the information for us. And then,
What did they say?
So here's the deal. VP Harris's stepson is married to someone who is from Fayetteville.
Okay.
That's that connection. All roads lead to Arkansas. All roads lead to Arkansas. All right. So next up, because this is exciting. This is great. Excitement is wonderful. Excitement is amazing. But unless we turn it, I'm a physicist, so let me go physics real quick. That's potential energy. It's stored energy. You need to turn the stored energy, like a battery, into kinetic energy. That's energy in motion. That's action. That's activity. That's agency. And so what we're going to move to now is how we take this excitement, this potential energy, and turn it into action, active energy in action, so that we can get people out to vote, get people volunteering, and do the work that's necessary in November. And first up, we have Brenda, our good friend,
Deborah
Dr.
Deborah Mitchell.
Deborah Mitchell's coming first. All right, come on. You want to introduce? Well, everybody knows Deborah Mitchell, so.
Right.
Bring
And
her
if
on.
she's not ready, we can go with. All right, here she comes. Excellent.
Yes.
You're here. Let's go.
You're here? All right. All right. I'm so sorry. Ooh. Okay. Good evening. If you're as excited as me to be a part of making history, help us volunteering your time with the Black Caucus. We have a special sign up just for Black Arkansans for the Harris Walls campaign. You don't even have to be Black to be a volunteer with us. So there are about 8 ways that you can sign up, and we'll put the link to sign up in the chat. And you can do from canvassing to making calls to attending events. And even if you want to host a fundraiser, let us know. We love to have you. So we have some amazing candidates that will want to get elected, from JPs to the state legislature. And with Harris and Walls on the top ticket, we can make it happen, but we need your help. So by signing up, we'll keep you updated with all the events happening across the state. And if we hear any news from the Harris campaign that relates to Arkansas, we will keep you posted. We're not sure if she's going to come here, but if we hear about a rally that is close by, we will let you know. Also, if you hear something, please let us know so we can spread the word, and maybe we can get in our cars and caravan there. So that's one way. Another way is donating. As you know, if you're unable to volunteer, we'll always take your money. Let me tell you this: the last call we had, we raised $13,799. We need one more dollar. So if someone just donate today, we'll be at $13,800. So we'll drop that link as well into the chat. So this money will go directly to supporting our candidates right here. It's a 50-50 split. So whatever you donate, 50% of it will go directly to the Harris campaign, and 50% will stay right here in our state, helping our candidates get elected. You know, we just need 8 House seats to flip, to break the supermajority that we have with the Republicans. And if we can break it, then they have to come to us about anything that relates to finance, money, or budget. So that's what we're trying to get, flip 8 seats. And we have more than 8 great candidates that are primed and ready to go and represent us at the state capitol. But we're going to need your support. Those are just 2 ways you can. And also, lastly, I'm going to get a pull for the Black Caucus. Always become a member of the Black Caucus. So there's 2 ways you could do that. You could be a general member, which is just $25 a year, or you can be a lifetime member like all of us on here for $150. No one's ever going to bother you again. You're in it for life. Come join us with the baddest, the blackest caucus, as we represent Black Arkansans for the DPA. So that's it, all I had. I'll shoot it back to you, to our amazing moderators. And I want credit for that, the fact that I was under 2 minutes here.
You did your thing. You get your credit. You get your credit. Thank you. Now, the Black Caucus is doing amazing work under Deb's leadership. So please sign up. They're going to deploy folks all over the state. Your money will be put to very, very good use supporting these candidates, as she mentioned. Let's do this together. So thank you, Deb.
Deborah, there was a question. They wanted to know, are you able to tell us who the delegates are for Arkansas?
No, of course. We have, let's see, we have different sets of delegates, so it's going to help me process this. Let me think. There's this amazing one that's a delegate. Chris Jones is a delegate for us, for representing the Congressional District 2. I'm a delegate. Marie, who is our second vice, she's a delegate. Donna Rayford is a delegate. Let's see, you're going to cut me off here. Steven. Oh, help me here. Let's see.
Stephen Persons.
Stephen Person. He's a delegate. And we have some delegates from the Delta, Tamara Hood out of Crittenden County. We have Goldie Gaines. She's also a delegate. We have Dustin Parson, who's out of Saline County, is a delegate. Of course, the Honorable Lottie Shackelford is a delegate. Our chair and vice chair, which is Janie Cotton, is a delegate. And then for our politically elected delegates, it's Barry High, who is the Pulaski County judge. Senator-elect Jamie Scott, Senator Fred Love. There's a gentleman out of South Arkansas, Mr. Green, Theodore Green. And let's see, did I forget anybody?
Well, check your list. You can come back on a little bit later.
Right.
That's a great coalition. We appreciate
I know, I wasn't ready. But let me just say this. About half of them are members of the Black Caucus. We're super excited about that.
Love it.
The mayor.
Yes, Mayor Frank Scott will certainly be on.
Mayor Frank Scott.
Yep.
He will be there. And I think that's it. Did I get everybody? Right. I know I forgot somebody. Someone's going to text me.
Check the list.
You forgot me.
We'll bring you back up before the end, because we're going to move on to
okay.
Dr. Vonnie. Thank you, Deb. To Dr.
He cut me off.
Boone. Dr. Boone she is deep into education and has cared about community. She's worked in higher ed and put students first. She's also deep into business. She's worked at Fortune 1 companies, Walmart, Fortune 100 companies, Tyson. So she has her foot in both of those spaces, and she is actually the first director of the MBA program at Philander Smith, now university. The reason it became a university is because of the MBA program that she's the leader of. But today she's going to tell you about a program because look, candidates and organizations need volunteers. The challenge they face is that they don't always have the capacity or the time to train these volunteers. They need folks who are ready to jump right into the deep end. And so Dr. Boone is going to tell us about Arkansas Citizens Engagement and how it's solving that problem.
Yep. And to clear up one piece, I was snatched up by another school in another state. So I didn't stay in Little Rock very long, but I'm still tied to Philander. I'm still tied there. I'm still tied there. That's where my higher education and HBCU started. So yes. But thank you so much for having me here. And I'm thankful that everybody has taken some time out to kind of understand how they can be involved in this huge historical moment. Again, I am Dr. Vonnie Boone. I'm an executive director with Arkansas Citizens Engagement. I'm excited to share this with you as we work together to, kind of bring our common goals together. ACE's mission is to empower and mobilize communities through political engagement and grassroots organizing. So we aim to invigorate Arkansans by empowering socially and politically disengaged with the skills to engage actively in the civic and political processes. We focus on enhancing civic talent and voter participation through targeting, training, and outreach. We even want to foster a more inclusive, informed, and vibrant civic culture. We are committed to creating a future where every voice is valued and every vote has impact, ensuring equitable representation for all Arkansans. So within our initiative, we aim to fill this void by offering comprehensive training to civic and political staff and volunteers, and do so with a specific focus on overcoming systemic inequities. This long-term plan kind of aims to creating a standardized training program, enhancing the skills of effectiveness of campaign workers across the state of Arkansas. This initiative also builds a sustainable pipeline of trained political operatives. So when it comes down to our training or education, because I'm huge on education. I know that I was in corporate. Education was not what I was doing in corporate, but it's been very fulfilling for me. And so focusing on these crash courses for campaign volunteers has been a huge, fulfilling thing for me as I've entered into Arkansas Citizens Engagement. So I'm excited to announce our upcoming in-person training events, which are crash courses. These are courses that are specifically designed to equip our campaign volunteers with the essential skills they need to make an immediate impact. The hands-on nature of these events means you won't just be learning in the classroom, you'll be actively engaging in real campaign work, putting what you learned into practice right away. These crash courses are strategically timed to prepare us all in these crucial weeks that are leading up to Election Day, ensuring that we're fully ready to hit the ground running. So I strongly encourage you to take advantage of these opportunities to sharpen your skills and to contribute meaningfully to our campaign efforts that are out there. So if you use this QR code here, that will give you more information about Arkansas Citizens Engagement and how you can be involved. Another thing that I'll kind of touch on is on the ACE Fellows program, and it's actually a paid opportunity for young professionals. The fellows will work on a campaign cause over the course of a year. They'll gain valuable experience and contributing to meaningful change. The benefits of the program, there's many benefits, and it includes professional development such as access to exclusive training on campaign strategies, voter outreach, digital marketing, policy analysis, and fundraising. We'll also be pairing the fellows with experienced political strategists so that we can help them to understand what it looks like to actually be part of a campaign, to actually understand how to be a campaign manager, to understand from elected officials what type of guidance they want to prepare them for as they enter into the political world. Additionally, the fellow will have an opportunity to provide, we'd have the opportunity to provide the fellows with this hands-on experience of networking, community engagement, and even post-fellowship support. So we want to encourage everyone to please get involved, whether it's through the fellows program, whether it's just engaging in the future training opportunities. Like I said, you can use the QR code here in my background. And if you have any more questions or need any additional information, I'll drop my email address into the chat, but it's literally my first name, Vanice@vortexpac.com. So that's the gist of it. But it's a lot of information that we can all kind of utilize throughout the entire state so that we can come together to meet a common goal.
Love it, love it, love it. So can I ask a couple questions? So with ACE, training program to teach you how to be a campaign volunteer, how to be a civically engaged volunteer. Does it only focus on certain ages or certain demographics, or can anyone sign up for ACE?
Anyone can sign up for ACE, but one of the main goals that we have is the underrepresented areas, making sure that they are knowledgeable, because and I say we because we're the minority, right? And so we can tend to be, I'm going to say, misinformed or uneducated in the political space. Yes.
Well, look, I'll say this: when I ran my campaign last cycle, and I'm sure others who have run campaigns before, it's a godsend, a gold mine, a diamond find. If someone walks into your campaign office and said, "I have been formally trained on how to knock on doors, on how to grassroots fundraise, on how to send text messages, on how to send emails, on how to do phone banking. I've been formally trained on that, and I'm ready to go." And what I love about ACE is that there are certainly national programs that do this work. ACE is honing in on Arkansas.
That's right.
Specific. And the fellows will be across the state in the congressional districts to represent Arkansas. Love that.
Right. And to your point, even when I ran for a city council in Rogers, it was like, fend for yourself. Like, people will immediately be like, "Oh, I'll help. I'll do whatever you need to do." But they don't realize it's not just about, canvassing. It's not just, about making phone calls. Like, you have to do follow-ups. You can't just make one call. You have to follow up. You have to hold their hand. You have to do all those things to even inform them. And then you have to, win their vote. So it's a lot more to it. And I don't think people realize it. But, as long as you're willing to learn and put forth the effort, then it's easier for you. But you have to be willing to take in the education.
Now, if I'm a candidate and I have staff, can I send them to the training programs that ACE is putting on?
Yes.
Love it. So for all the candidates out there, send your staff over to ACE, get them trained in certain areas, and let them get back and get to work. Again, turning that potential energy into kinetic energy.
That's right. And we take donations as well.
And you mentioned about that it's for those who have been disenfranchised. In regards to age specifically, there are some kids who need community service. Is this something that they can do?
100%. We're turning nobody around.
All right. Excellent.
As long as you can walk and talk, we'll take you.
Those 75 hours that public school students are now required to do in order to graduate because of learns that was rammed down our throat because we have a supermajority that we're going to break with the help of the Black Caucus. And all we need is 8 seats, y'all. 8 seats. So get trained, get on those campaigns, increase voter turnout. Let's break that supermajority and let's win this state for Harris and Walls.
And we'll help you.
There you go.
And Dr. Boone, did you put your contact information in the chat for everybody?
Yes, ma'am.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. All right, partner.
Well, okay. So No, they talked about the watch parties. And so there will be a watch party in Little Rock. As soon as we get the information, we're giving it out. It's going to be at Trois. I know Madam VP is going to speak around 9 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. So we're telling people, you can get there as early as 7 and just hang out with us, and we'll be there all night in our white watching her.
Yes. Yeah, and she won't drone on for 90 minutes talking about all kinds of random stuff. She won't have a maxi pad on her ear like the other dude did. None of that. This is going to be an exciting, informative party that will again then turn that potential energy into kinetic energy so we can get out there and get this work done.
Yeah, like I said, we're excited. We have hope. We have joy. We don't need AI. We have real crowds who are out there ready to support Harris and Walz's campaign. I put in the chat www.kamalaharris.com for you to get your merchandise, for you to get your yard signs. I know people have been asking about that, and your stickers. And up next, Chris, this is one of
Yes, so we have a
your
special guest coming. We're waiting on our special guest, Marie Daniel Favors, and I'll introduce her and everything. As soon as she gets on, I'll do an intro. So in the interim, why don't we try to answer a couple of questions? I don't know if we can get some questions from folks. You all can send us questions. We'll answer those.
Well, there was a couple questions in the chat.
Yep.
It was talking about the importance of absentee voting. And so we were talking about registering to vote, that the deadline is October the 7th. And there are specific rules for absentee voting. So you want to be very clear, go to the clerk's office, print off the information. I know one of the rules for absentee voting is that you have to send in a picture of your ID. And a lot of times that can be difficult for those people who are homebound. So they're going to need somebody to help them and take a copy of their ID, get a picture of it made, and then send it in. It's very specific in terms of the instructions of how to send it in. So if there is, that right there is something that we can do to help our senior citizens, those who are in nursing homes. If we just have what we call like a ministry that goes into the nursing homes and help those people in regards to making sure that they have their ID and information for their absentee ballots. So that was one of the questions that was in the chat.
Another question that I may bring up, see if we can bring Deb back up for this to tell us who are the seats that we're looking at that are on every seat's gonna matter. Let me say that every seat's gonna matter. And there are about 8 to 12 seats that are right there on the bubble where the last cycle, the Democrat that was running lost by anywhere from 15 to 1,200 votes. So can we get Deb back up to tell us specifically what those seats are? And while she's coming, let me throw this out. And again, as soon as Marie Daniel Favors comes up, she's gonna gets here. I'm gonna introduce her to talk about Project 2025. But while Deb is coming, if we can get her, there is here she is. Great. Deb, are you in position to tell us some of those seats?
Okay, yes, I can.
Great.
Well, I gotta get my cheat sheet.
Yes, we love
Okay. So in Pulaski, well, first let's start off with the seats that we're trying to hold. And those are in Crittenden County. And there are 2 seats, District 35, which is part of Crittenden County and Cross, with Jesse Magruder running for that. And then in the St. Francis and Crittenden County area, Mayor Lincoln Barnett. Those we're trying to hold so that we don't have to fight for more seats. Now, the ones we are trying to flip in Pulaski County, there's a couple. It's one in Sherwood with Cabe. He's running in Sherwood where Janie Cotton used to run. Also in North Little Rock, it's Holiday. Throw me off. It's my neighbor because this is my area. It's in North Little Rock. In Maumelle, it's Cassandra Green, what we're trying to flip. Alex Holiday in North Little Rock. And then also in District 69, we got Kwame. That's part of Maumelle and Faulkner and Pulaski County. We want to flip. That's David Ray, who currently holds that seat. We want to flip that. Also, in Northwest Arkansas, there's a seat up in Northwest Arkansas that we're trying to flip. And the one seat that we really have the best chance is in Phillips in Lee County, and with Dexter Miller. We lost that seat by very few votes. And we have the ability to really flip that back to a Democratic seat. And I think I got them all. If I
And
didn't,
you know,
I
in Northwest,
apologize.
that's Billy Cook.
Your testimony really
Billy Cook is running in Northwest, and
Billy Cook, that's right.
Kate Schaefer is running in Northwest Arkansas.
And Diane
Gonzalez.
Gonzalez, right? Yes. She's
Yes.
running in Northwest Arkansas. So there
Perfect.
are several. And then in the congressional seats, we got Rodney, our guy Rodney. He's running in Congressional District 1, Marcus Jones in 2, and then help me here,
Caitlin Draper. Caitlin Draper.
Caitlin, and then 4.
Reese Howard.
Reese, all right. Man.
Yes.
Okay.
Perfect.
I think I got a C on this test.
No, you good. You good. Thank you for that, Deb. I just wanted a quick rundown so people will get a sense, and they can answer the question.
Well, while you're still there, I'm gonna put you on the hot seat just a little bit.
Gosh, gracious.
No, it's okay. It's okay. There's some questions and you touched on it just a little bit. Is there any way we can get VP Harris or the VP's VP Tim Walz to come to Arkansas? Is there any way we could get them to come? And that's one of the questions that was in the chat.
That's going to be difficult. I doubt it. I would say it's unlikely chance, but you never know. Never know. And the reason being is they need to spend some time in the states that we need to win the Electoral College. And there's about 9 states that we have to hold blue or flip.
Yep.
So in Arkansas, unfortunately, isn't one of them. So I know that's not something people want to hear, but we're going to keep it real.
Yeah.
But they may be in Texas, maybe they'll come and then we can all drive and go see.
And look, that doesn't prevent you all from sounding from raising your voice and asking and requesting. So anyone you know, make the ask, make the request, and they will get it done. Deb, I'm gonna follow up what you said on the Electoral College because I want to pick up the last question, and then just real time, do me a favor. Lareed needs the link again. Would you share that? Would you go ahead and shoot that over to her? All right. Let me tell her to check email. So just as we're getting her on, I'm going to follow up with the Electoral College question. And you good? All right. We're all good. Okay, good. Follow up with the Electoral College question from last time, just because it relates to what Deb just said. So for those who know or don't know, generally what happens is there's a popular vote that we look at. That's us going to the polls and voting. That's counting the 85 or so million votes that Biden got last time versus Donald Trump's 70-something million. There's like an 8 million vote gap. When Secretary Clinton ran against Donald Trump, she got more actual votes than he did, right? So he hasn't yet to win the popular vote. Now, that translates into electoral votes because every state is allocated a certain number of electors based on their population size. These are the representatives that show up to Congress and they say, I am casting a vote on behalf of my state. Arkansas has 6 electoral votes. California has, I don't know, 6,000, no, not 6,000. California has probably 50 something. I got to check that number. But California has a lot more. And so what typically has happened is you have certain states that because of the popular vote, they generally all the way in on Democrat or all the way in on Republican. California is generally going to go for a Democrat. And in fact, on election night when President Obama was running and they were running the scenarios, Steve Kornacki was, can you get this state? Can you get that state? And it came down to California, And he said, I cannot in good conscience give California to John McCain because California typically goes to Obama. And so they add up, and whoever gets to 270 electoral votes, they are the one that win the presidency. And so what Deb is talking about is it generally comes down to certain quote unquote swing states. Pennsylvania, Michigan, sometimes Florida, put Georgia in play. So swing states, meaning that state sometimes goes for Democrat, sometimes goes for Republican. And whichever way they go, those electors get allocated to that person as they try to get to 270. One other quick nuance I'll throw out there, and then I'll do an intro of our speaker, Loree Daniel Favors. One other quick nuance. Most states, it's winner take all. That's why you go in and you try to fight hard for certain electors. Winner take all electors. In some states, it's proportional, where you get the electors based on how many of the popular vote you get. So popular vote, that's everybody. Electoral vote is electoral college. You got to get to 270. Anything you want to add to that, Brenda, before I introduce our special guest?
Yeah, I just want everybody to make sure that they understand that even though we're not technically called a swing state, we can still flip the state. And that will make people pay attention to Arkansas. It will make people pay attention to their positions here, from the governor's race to justice of the peace to, all of our electoral positions. And so we don't need to sit down and say, oh, we're not a swing state right now. We swing, we have to swing it and flip it. So I want everybody to be aware of that. Don't stay at home because we're not a swing state. Go out there and vote, and let's change the trajectory of Arkansas.
And let me say something on that, and double click on that, Brenda, because here's the deal. John Kerry, who, brilliant man from Massachusetts, he ran for president against George W. Bush. John Kerry, again, strong, solid Democrat, brilliant guy. He is not even halfway as exciting as VP Kamala Harris. He cannot bring the coalition that she can bring together. John Kerry got 45% of the vote in Arkansas. So if John Kerry can get 45% of the vote in Arkansas, VP Kamala Harris can do her thing here if we do our job. So yes, right. Brenda, you are absolutely right. Let's make Arkansas a swing state by swinging for VP Harris. And we do that by everyone on this call getting active and knowing the stakes of the race. And so with that, we're going to talk for a second about the stakes of the race. And Project 2025 is certainly one of those areas where the stakes are high. We are fortunate to have someone I consider a good friend in Loree Daniel Favors. She is the executive director at the Center for Law and Social Justice at Medgar Evers College. Loree is an author, an activist, so she writes about the stuff, but she does the work, and she's an attorney who's been committed to racial and social justice for a long time. I know her through her work on Sirius XM's Urban View, which is 126. If you're not listening to the Loree Daniel Favors show on Sirius XM, you are missing out, because she covers all things race, gender, culture, politics, and law. And when I say she hits it hard, and she brings us all in. In addition to being a prominent media figure, an author, she contributed to The Birth of a Nation. She authored Afro State of Mind, Memories of a Nappy-Headed Black Girl, which uses natural hair journey. We talked about the Crown Act earlier. In addition to all that, she co-founded the Sankofa Community Empowerment, Inc. It's a nonprofit that's really focused on educating and empowering communities of African descent. She knows our community. She cares about our community. She is, and I'm going to tell you this, she is a proud member, she'll say it too, of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated.
Yes!
Look out now, yes. So with that, I have been on her show, and she took the time out to help give me a platform when I was running for governor, and since. She knows Arkansas, she cares about Arkansas, and we are bringing her up because she has been focusing on Project 2025 like no one else's business. and she knows it up and down. So we're going to ask Loree to come up and share just a little bit about Project 2025. My good friend, my partner, someone I'm a big fan of, Loree, take it away, buddy.
Thank you so much for that, brother. I appreciate it. And shout out to the soul world out there whose voice I heard. I appreciate always being in company. And I'm also able to see several of my D9 sisters present. So it is always a pleasure to be with you and engage in conversation. Because the reality is, when we're talking about Project 2025, we're talking about something that is so significant and so dramatic that it really does require us to have an approach to it that recognizes that, quite frankly, this is a very serious effort on behalf of the right wing, and they have demonstrated that they are very effective at accomplishing what they set their minds to. So I appreciate the invitation to just be able to share a little bit about it. I also want to shout out Sister Taraji P. Henson, without whom I'd probably still be doing Project 2025 conversations to just me and my little microphone, because this is something that we take very seriously at SiriusXM. And I'm just grateful for everyone who has done the work of elevating it, which means I'm grateful for all of you for elevating this in this conversation, particularly because it is so important and so significant for all of us. So just briefly, Project 2025, I'm sure many of you have heard of it by now. It's basically a 920 some odd page playbook. I heard Coach Walls, our new VP nominee, use that reference, that it is a playbook. And for those of you who are familiar with athletics, you know that when you go through the trouble of creating a playbook, it's not because it's just sort of theoretical, something that you're going to leave to the side. You create a playbook because you plan on using that playbook to guide your plays, to guide how you're going to interact with the opposition. And so I am in many ways grateful to the right wing and this really isn't even about partisanship. It's just about facts. I'm very grateful to them for putting out this document. It's called the Mandate for Leadership. You can download the entire document at project2025.org. If you slide over to the menu on the top and hit the button that says playbook, scroll down, the red ink in italics at the bottom of that first paragraph is where you can download the document. But it's 920 pages. So I also would like to recommend that you look at another organization, Democracy Forward. They have condensed it to a 48-page user guide that allows people, and Brother Jones, I will be sure to send you the link to that so that you can share it with the audience as well. But essentially, when it comes to Project 2025, what we're talking about is an effort, a very well thought out, extraordinarily granular effort to remake current American government in the image of, say, what America was like prior to the end of Jim Crow. So when we're talking about the civil rights movement and everything that the civil rights movement brought us, the Civil Rights Act, which is the one piece of federal legislation that currently still prevents the exercise of racist attitudes in public. So for example, if you're going to a restaurant and the owner who owns the restaurant may not like you because of your race, they can't discriminate against you in the provision of services. Like, you got to be able to sit at the restaurant to eat because that is the law. If there is a hotel manager and the hotel manager doesn't like you because of your race, they can't block you from getting a room in the hotel because of your race. That would be against the law. Well, under a Project 2025 America, the provisions that would protect our civil rights and would prevent that sort of discrimination are no longer on the table. In fact, none of the benefits that we were able to secure during the civil rights movement are on the table. So that means everything from the Civil Rights Act, the Voting Rights Act, which is hanging by a thread right now, thanks to the Supreme Court, the Fair Housing Act, which prevents discrimination in housing. When it comes to the Equal Pay Act, or when it comes to any of the pieces of legislation that were designed to balance the playing field, all of that in a Project 2025 America is done because it literally rolls back the clock on our laws. It rolls back the clock on who gets to have authority in our society. It rolls it back. People have been saying to like 1930s America. I'm going more with an 1830s America because of just how severe the impact on our community will be. And so when we're talking about Project 2025, it's sometimes helpful to give people some examples as to what's in this playbook so people can recognize what it is that is at stake. And so when we're talking about that rollback of rights, let's think about all of the rights we have now. Actually, let me do this. How many of y'all just think about this, because it's a webinar, so I won't be able to see your hands. If you know somebody who's 70 years or older, just do a heart, whatever it is, the emojis that's happening. If you know someone who's 70 years or older, And if you know someone who's 70 years or older and you've ever gotten a chance to sit down in conversation with them, they're really clear about what life was like before civil rights, when they had to go to segregated schools that their taxes were paying for, but they weren't allowed to attend, and what life was like after civil rights. And I don't think any 70-year-old, 80-year-old, 90-year-old would tell us that life was perfect after civil rights. But what they will tell you is that there were significant changes that allowed for a different reality in America. And that's something that the Project 2025 effort would roll back. So here are just a couple, and I speak really, really quickly. Brother Chris, if you could just wave and let me slow down if I need to, because I'm sorry, y'all, I'm from Brooklyn.
You good.
So I'll try to slow down because I want this to be clear and I want people to understand exactly what we're grappling with. So here are just a couple of examples. And again, I'm reading from the playbook, the Democracy Forward playbook. Some of the things that they want to do is to eliminate the authority of agencies. And that sounds really governmental, but let's think about it, right? So a few weeks ago, there was a recall of a whole lot of beef, and because people were getting listeria, there were a lot of diseases coming. The beef was poisoned, it wasn't properly packaged, and there were millions and millions of pounds of beef that had to be recalled. We know that beef was dangerous and that meat was dangerous because the Food and Drug Administration has testers, and they go out, they're able to test and see what's happening. And they're able to, as the Federal Food and Drug Agency, say, this food is bad, you got to pull it from the shelves. Well, in Project 2025, they want to get rid of agencies, and it's called the administrative state. That's just a fancy way of saying a bunch of agencies that basically do the work of government. So some agencies that we all benefit from include the Department of Education. It includes, as I mentioned, the Food and Drug Administration. It includes the National Oceanic Weather Service and our ability to get science-based weather information in an era where climate change is destructive to all of the climates that we live in. It would include agencies like the Department of Health, which they would rename the Department of Life. And it requires them to really undo the power that these agencies have. So in a Project 2025 America, if there's 7 million pounds of dirty beef that's distributed through our grocery stores, you don't necessarily have an agency that's going to be able to mandate that meat be pulled off the shelves, because agencies would no longer have power. Who would have power? Judges. Which means that if you were to realize that there's poisoned meat, or if the milk is spoiled, or whatever it is that's happening, whatever the Food and Drug Administration is exercising authority over, if you were to say, wait a minute, this meat is bad, these products are bad, they're going to cause harm to people, they're going to cause people to get sick, then if I'm someone who benefits from that industry, I can say, well, Food and Drug Administration, you don't have any more power. This is the Project 2025 America. I'm going to take you to court and we'll let the judge decide. And so the judge will get to decide whether or not that meat is actually bad. The judge will get to decide whether or not the food that scientists at the Food and Drug Administration have said, this is bad food, this is going to cause people harm, it might kill people. The judge will then get to decide. And unfortunately, in a Project 2025 America, thanks to the Supreme Court, if I, the person who benefits from the beef industry, were to, and this is purely hypothetical, please don't do me like Oprah, I'm not trying to get sued by the beef industry at all, I'm just as an aside, it's a hypothetical. But if I am someone who benefits from the beef industry, and it would be in my financial best interest to not have that meat pulled, because that means I'm going to suffer financial loss, and I just so happen to have a judge who agrees with me, according to the Supreme Court, if I slide that judge a little something off the top to pay them as a thank you for agreeing with me and siding with corporate interests, that's not considered a bribe. It's not considered illegal. So this is a complete restructuring of our government in a way that allows corporations to call the shots. The agencies in government would no longer be able to have the authority that they need in order to make sure that corporations aren't benefiting off of harming us. And we see what that looks like in some smaller ways at the state level. We've talked before about, in a variety of conversations, about Cancer Alley and the fact that we barely have enough agencies who can minimize the amount of harm that's going into Black and brown communities, where we're going to be overpopulated with factories that are pollutants, where we're going to be overpopulated with corporations that are spewing excess toxic gases and waste into our food supply, our air supply, our water supply. Well, under our Project 2025 America, there's no agency for us to go to complain about that, because the agencies no longer have power. They want to, for example, end the Department of Education, and they want to cut Head Start, which serves over 1 million children. Many of them are children from our communities. They want to cut what they determine to be woke policies like SNAP, like giving people access to food and housing who are hungry and homeless. And so they want to be able to end programs like the TANF, the Temporary Assistance for Needy Families program. They want to limit food assistance, which would impact more than 40 million people every single month. They want to roll back these civil rights protections, which I mentioned, which would include cutting diversity, equity, and inclusion, which we're already seeing at the state level, but imagine that at the federal level. They want to prevent all of the efforts to renegotiate health prices so that the current administration is working to, as we know, to cut insulin costs at $35 per person, per month rather. They want to eliminate those types of programs. They want to eliminate healthcare programs that provide healthcare services for poor and working people. They want to eliminate overtime. And they want to recreate, because overtime is something that's regulated by an agency known as the Department of Labor. And they begin, because they don't want agencies to have power, they want to transfer that power to corporations and the judges. They would get rid of agencies like the Department of Labor. And they have said in their document, this is one of the craziest things ever, when it came to the labor provision, that basically if you work a 40-hour work week, your boss under their vision of America would be able to say, listen, Brother Chris, I know that typically you do 40 hours a week, but we're in a crunch time right now. So we're going to need you to do 80 hours this week, 80 hours next week, and then you're going to be off the last 2 weeks of the month. Who can sustain that? No, none of us who are working people can work in a reality where your boss, the owner of the corporation, the people who benefit from our labor would be able to, one, eradicate and eliminate your overtime, but then two, have the ability to dictate which sort of hours you would be able to work, and you would not have any protections under the Department of Labor, again, because the Department of Labor does not exist in this reality. I could go on, but I don't want to overwhelm and I don't want to dominate the conversation. So Brother Chris, if you or any of the others would like me to pause here, I'm happy to do that. I want to be as respectful as I can of your time and make sure that my contribution is helpful to the effort.
Well, like I said, Project 2025 better than anyone. And I love that overview because it gives people a sense of the depth and breadth of what we're facing. So let me throw a couple of questions to you. And one of them, and later I'm gonna get to the question of what can we do, right? Not yet, but later. Because it feels overwhelming. It's so much. What can we do? But my two initial questions are: one, I'm hearing now that there are a set of training videos that they have put out in addition to this 900-page document. Could you talk a little bit about these training videos they have?
Yes. So and I've said this before, and I have to find a better way to articulate it, but have you ever seen somebody do something that's just awful and evil, but they're so good at it? It's almost impressive. It's like, oh, you wasn't just evil, you was evil, like in a way that just elevates it to another degree. There are videos that are now being purportedly released. I cannot independently confirm their veracity, but they are very helpful to people who want to support the Project 2025 agenda. And one of the reasons it's a problem is because one of the things we also know about what's happening with this effort is that they have created essentially a LinkedIn for conservatives. And this is a database that they're gathering where they're getting resumes and job applications out to tens of thousands of people. Their effort is to recruit 50,000, as they call them, patriots, who they would be able to, in a Project 2025 America, insert into the federal government by firing. Of course, they would have to, there's a few steps they'd have to take first. They would have to fire civil servants. This is going to get a little wonky. I'm going to try to make it less wonky, but just stay with me for just a minute. I promise you we're going somewhere with this. Civil servants are people who work in the government, regardless of who's the president. You have about 4,000 positions in the federal government that depend on the president. So like Merrick Garland, who's our attorney general, his position is appointed by the president that's in office. There are key positions that when the presidency changes or the administration changes, personnel changes. That's only about 4,000 or so positions. There are tens of thousands of positions, however, that regardless of when a new president comes in or one leaves, they're going to still be there doing the business of government. They're nonpartisan. They're called civil servants. And a significant portion of them, disproportionately so, are of our community, because this entering work through the federal government was one of the ways that Black people early on in the civil rights era, and it is a tradition that has continued, were able to get access to good paying jobs with a pension and retirement plan working for the federal government. Project 2025. And oh, by the way, these people, they've got like positions that are sustainable. You could work there 20, 30 years, retire, and live a good, decent, middle-class working life, depending on whether or not you're in the heart of DC paying over prices for rent. But the point is, those people who are civil servants, doesn't matter who's the president. Under Project 2025 America, those civil servants are removed from civil service. And they are instead replaced with the folks who are a part of the Project 2025 LinkedIn, for lack of a better phrase. And these are people who have already been screened. They're being vetted. They don't just submit their resume. They also answer very extensive questionnaires. I know because I've actually answered one of these questionnaires, and it asks them, you know, not just where you worked previously, but they ask them, who are their influences? Who are the greatest conservatives that they know? Because they're not just trying to get people who can do the job. They want people who can do the job who are MAGA. Now, if you're MAGA, that's great for you. But for the rest of us who perhaps are not MAGA and who do not want a Project 2025 America, we would not want this to happen, because the civil servants are the people who told the Trump administration no the last time that they were in office. A lot happened that could not be prevented, but the unleashing of the hounds of the abyss, as my grandmother would say, were held back by those civil servants. And under Project 2025 America, you would get rid of those people and replace them with this 50,000 surplus or 50,000 group of Trump and MAGA aficionados. Here's where we get back to the videos. You got to train them, right? You can't just install them. They have to be prepared. It's like with any new job or any new environment that you're going, you got to train folks so that they know how to be as effective as they possibly can be. So if I were trying to create a Project 2025 America, where I were going to bring in 50,000 new people, replacing those people who had 10, 15, 20, 30 years of experience on how to make government run, well, of course, I'd want a training package. How else am I going to get them up to speed? So that was a long answer to your question, but I just wanted to use it to go into the weeds a little bit so people can see just how granular this effort really is.
That's no, thank you for that. And by the way, let me make another plug. If you listen to SiriusXM Larry Daniel Favor show, you would catch this and a whole lot more. So I listen, you need to listen too. Here's the deal. Now I'm gonna ask my two-part question and see if Brenda has any questions. And there's a question in the chat. Well, my next two-part question is, let's say the world turns out the way we want it, and we get President Harris and Vice President Walz. Is that enough to stop Project 2025? And if not, what can we do? That's the second part of the question.
So it's absolutely not enough. Here's one of the things that one of the leaders of the Heritage Foundation, which is one of the lead foundations behind this effort, one of the things they said recently was that Project 2025 is administration agnostic, meaning they don't care who in office. And they were really speaking about which Republican candidate. This is a plan that they have been moving on for quite some time. So when we think about what happened with reproductive rights, right, with reproductive justice, the fact that my 10-year-old daughter has fewer reproductive healthcare rights than I did when I was her age, that did not happen overnight. That was a multi-decade effort initiated by many of the same people and organizations who are a part of the Project 2025 effort. And it took decades. Chipping away at our rights, chipping away at a woman's right to choose, chipping away at what it meant to have reproductive health care. And so because I guess a good example as to why it wouldn't be enough, we have President Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris in office right now, and look at how effective they've been. We no longer have the right to an abortion in this state, in this country, depending on what state you live in. We have a reality where our voting rights, they just said as it pertains to redistricting, that multiply disenfranchised groups racially who are claiming racial dilution of their votes, we can no longer, according to one of the courts where this decision just came down, collaborate our claims to demonstrate vote dilution. So they have already demonstrated that what they can do with Democrats in office. So that's the one thing. Getting President Kamala Harris and Vice President Walz in office is an amazing effort at stopping some of the blunt instrument effect of this. But in addition to putting the right people in office, we have to make sure that it's not just that the White House, we have to make sure that there is a Congress that is going to be able to help introduce laws and work with the Senate that hopefully, and I guess I'm being partisan on this. I'm taking off my Center for Law and Social Justice hat. I need my children to win. I need my kids. So I want the Democrats to win. So I'm sorry, I'm not going to hide the bomb. I'm going to be partisan in what I'm about to say. I don't mean to disrespect it if this is a nonpartisan space, but I just want to speak freely in this moment, and then I will go back to being in line. But when it comes to the fact that the Donald Trump administration has installed and shaped more than 25% of the seats in our federal judiciary. And it's not just at the federal level, they at the Supreme Court level, they have installed judges at every single level. They have installed, as we see in Georgia, as we see in Texas, they have put people in position who are there to manipulate the vote. He named 3 people in the state of Georgia who are unelected, who are going to be able to refuse to certify the election. So securing the presidency is important, but making sure that we are aware as to all of the ways that there are inflection points in this system that have been, I heard one person use it as booby traps, that we were going to have to continue to be mindful of, that we have to be aware of. But even beyond that, I would love a 200-page document with our agenda for what the future should look like. Now, it's a beautiful, amazing thing. But I think as much as we are worried about defending ourselves from Project 2025, and this is something I wrestle with on air, because I don't want to spend so much time talking about us on defense that we don't get to be on offense. We have to vision what it is that we want. And I'm speaking specifically right now to people of African descent, regardless of nationality. I've been on a number of calls with folks who are connected to a number of folks. And one of the things that we keep hearing, that I keep hearing, is your community, meaning people of African descent, you're going to have to figure out how to make bigger asks, because you're really excited to be in the space. You're excited about the energy, but you ask for things that are minuscule. And so I had asked them, I said, well, give us an example. Because I think I understand what you're saying, but give us an example. And they said, well, I had one person on my show and he was like, we're fighting for the right for police to wear body cameras, so that we can have evidence that when you violate our bodies, we'll be able to prove to the court that it actually happened. That's a very low level ask. A bigger ask would be, we want an end to all qualified immunity, which is a judicial created effort to protect police officers who will take our lives, a la what happened to Sonia Massey. We want an end to qualified immunity. We want police settlements. When the police do policing poorly, we want the settlements coming out of their budget, not out of the tax dollars that we, the people, pay, which essentially means we are paying for the police to kill us because we're paying their salaries, and then we're paying their settlements on top of their salaries. So what I've been hearing is we have to vision way bigger. And I know, as one of the pushbacks, I said, well, you're talking to people who are used to not getting. You're talking to people who are used to having our needs be sacrificed for the greater good. And so I'm like, well, how do you talk to this community, my community, and encourage us to ask for bigger things when we're used to settling for crumbs, or at least being used to being invited to sit at someone else's table? This is no shade at all to that phrase, our beloved Shirley Chisholm, who says, bring your own folding chair. Well, I appreciate that, because now that we brought our folding chair and we sat at those tables and we saw the unseasoned food and we realized this really wasn't the best place for us, now we can create our own tables in our own homes, in our own institutions, and we can meet you at your table. But eventually you're going to have to come to ours.
Come on,
and so for us to be able to envision what this world looks like for our distinct groups. Shout out to the women with Black women, women with Black men. Shout out to the white women. Shout out to the white dudes for Harris. I love that people are able to finally openly identify in a way that allows for organizing, because there'll be times for us to be in our silos. And we're going to have to envision in our silos what a better America means for all of us. And I don't just mean a good revival. I mean pen and paper. Write it down. Yeah. They came together in the 70s and 80s to create, for the Black community, a Black agenda. Let's build on that. But we have to begin envisioning what we as individual groups need. And then we got to envision what we as a collective need, because none of us can get there on our own. But we got to be willing to break out of an imagination that's limited. Here we go. Unburdened by what has been, right? And to quote VP Harris, we got to have our imaginations unburdened, informed by what has been, because we're not foolish. We're not going to throw away history. Informed by what has been, but not burdened and limited by it. And that requires, for those of us who have been under the most of oppression, that requires us to have some imaginative healing that's going to allow us to really manifest the world that I believe that my God has intended for all of us.
See, you preached and you threw in unseasoned food. Because I caught that. I caught that unseasoned food. I mean, we all caught that. Look, amazing. You nailed it. I would love for you to end like this. because you start your show with a moment of gratitude, and you give us instructions. And in that moment of gratitude, it helps to center us and ground us as we get ready to do the hard work ahead. Just now, you sort of shared the hard work we're facing and the mountain that we must climb. That's heavy. So given all of that, could you leave us with what we can be grateful for in this moment? And what are you grateful for in this moment that might inspire us to also be grateful as we get ready to do this important work?
That's a good question. There is so much to be grateful for in this moment. It's gonna sound weird to some people, but I'm actually grateful for Joe Biden right now. And which is weird because he was never my candidate. Like I own that. I own it because I was not on that train. But I'm grateful for the example that he has left about what it means to center righteous leadership. For those of you who follow his story, knowing that he had been in the Senate for as long as he had, supported the first Black president, played number 2 to that younger Black man, and then played number 1 to this Black woman who's now elevating into this position. I'm grateful for him recognizing the time. I'm grateful for the energy that Vice President Kamala Harris has sort of introduced into this moment. We were gonna get Joe Biden across the finish line. I trust and believe that. But my God, does it feel amazing to have this sort of energetic shift. I'm grateful for our ancestors. I should have started with them first. So I'm going to apologize to them for putting them not in their first place where they should have been. But I'm grateful for our ancestors, who I think often get tired of us saying we are our ancestors' wildest dream because we got a job, a house, or some other sort of, monetarily driven benefit, but who are now, I think, aware of the fact that we are organizing in different ways. I'm grateful for their strength and their empowerment. I'm grateful for the ability for our people to walk and chew gum at the same time. I'm grateful for people in our community to have a very clear-eyed vision about some things that needed to happen, and then we made that happen. Because if it weren't for, I'm just gonna say, if it weren't for women, Black women, we're probably having a very different conversation on the eve of this convention right now. I am grateful for unapologetic leadership. I'm grateful for the ability to align. This is something I say at the end of every show. I'm grateful for our ability to figure out what our purpose is and align said purpose with the needs of our community and walk in it with our back straight. I'm grateful that we get to tap into our Harriet Tubman, Marcus Garvey, Nat Turner love so we can learn to love each other harder than we were taught not to because we were taught not to. Our Nat Turner love because we got to create pathways for opportunity for those who need it. And we have to defend the sanctity of Black lives. And I'm just glad that we get to do that. And we have ancestors in our example, in our history that can teach us that. I'm grateful that we get to manifest a new thing. I'm grateful that we have hope in a way that we did not before. And I'm grateful that I'm mindful that faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. So if we stay in this moment, it's not just about getting her across the finish line and getting Coach Walls across the finish line. It's about positioning ourselves so that we understand how to wield power. I'm grateful that right now, Black people are waking up out of the representation is the only thing that matters when it comes to our votes. And we're being a lot more intentional about how we determine who should be in a leadership position. And I'm grateful for growth. I'm grateful for grace and mercy and empathy because we're all going to mess up. We're all going to stumble and make mistakes. But if we provide a community that is growing and is vision-centered and people-centered, that we have the ability to employ that principle. My mom used to always say, grace covers a multitude of faults and sins. So we're going to mess up. We're going to have to get better. But I'm grateful for this moment because for the first time in a long time, I am hopeful about what's happening right now. And that feels really, really good. And if we can continue to do that, I'm pretty sure we're gonna be all right. You're gonna be better.
Be all right. Look, Dr. Daniel Favor.
That's y'all. That's you, PhD.
Arkansas is grateful for you.
Thank you.
Know that you have a lot of fans here. And we are grateful for your platform, for your voice, for your spirit, for your vision. So don't stop because we're putting as much wind behind you as we can. And we thank you for taking time out on this night to share with us. You matter. Thank you.
It is an honor to be here. And I am just so grateful, Attorney Stallings. I'm honored and grateful and appreciate being asked and glad I was able to hopefully help further the conversation along. Appreciate it.
All right, Brenda, that was, look, I got nothing.
That was amazing. That was amazing. when I talk to people about Project 2025, I try to meet them where they are, whether it's somebody who has small kids, then I will mention that they're talking about trying to eliminate Head Start. If I'm talking to somebody who's a senior citizen, I'll tell them about the cutting of Medicare and how they're trying to get rid of $35 prescription drugs. I just try to meet people where they are. There is so much in that mandate that they're trying to take away from us, that it is almost impossible and overwhelming to deal with. But if we just break it down, just kind of take it bit by bit, and just remind people that, we're talking education, we're talking about healthcare, which should be a human right. We're talking about our benefits for veterans, people who have fought for this country. They want to cut benefits for veterans. There's just so much in that mandate. And if nothing else, that should inspire us to push even harder to get Kamala Harris and Tim Walz in the presidency. So, and I love the fact that she said that we really need to start looking at our own mandate, our own leadership manual. We're not always playing, what is it, defense?
Yeah, we can't do that. It's time for some
Yeah.
offense. Time for some offense. Well,
Right.
look, thank you all. Follow Dr. Favors. It's at Laree Favors. You can follow her, listen to her show, call in, give her support, sign up for ACE to be trained, because this is what the work is about. Sign up if you're not already. I'm sure you are, but be a member of the Arkansas Democratic Black Caucus. Volunteer. Get ready. Watch our very own Mayor Lottie Shackelford on the floor at the Democratic National Convention, and then be ready to work. So I'm going to turn the mic over to my good friend Brenda Stalling for the last word. But I tell you this has been amazing. This won't be the last time. Y'all get ready for the next time, because we're going to get this work done, and we're going to surprise a whole lot of folks with what Arkansas is going to do.
When Dr. Favors was talking, I started thinking about what I'm grateful for. And it's very simple. I am grateful for the opportunity to make history. And that's it for me. That's all I could think of. Grateful for the opportunity to make history. Because when we vote, we make history. So I will with that. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you. All right, folks, we're going to get a little music and we're going to see y'all out. Till next time. Deb will share when the next time is. At some point, she's going to send you an email and let you know we're coming back. Because we got
It'll
work.
be after the convention.
After the convention. After the convention,
yes.
We'll be ready, and we're going to get to work. So next time, we're going to have a t-shirt on, a hat, or something.
Right.
Yeah, you have to get your t-shirt. I have mine.
My Harris t-shirt. Yeah. Look, all right, thank y'all. God bless you all. Remember, your Black job is to vote. Let's make our own Project 2025. And don't forget to be grateful. See ya.
Where's our music?
I don't know. That's what I was waiting on, but that's okay.